Cooney. I am the Art Sherpa. In around an hour, I'm going to show you step by step how to do this painting. All the steps. I don't skip any of them. Tell you all the materials, everything you need to know to make this and hang this on your wall. So get your brushes, get your paint, get everything you need and come back and meet me at the easel right now and we will paint this together. Come on. Hey, all my returning artists, I'm so glad you showed up today. If you're new, you're going to love this. We're going to do this painting together step by step, and our first step is going over the supplies. Our supplies are this. We have paint. We have wonderful paint, but listen, any acrylic paint will work. Buy the best paint that you can afford. It does make a difference, but you know, also respect that you gotta live within your budget, and everything is great. If you are getting those folk art paints, the ones in the little bottles, I've written to them, I've heard back, you got to get the ones with the gold caps that say pigment. Everything else they make really isn't designed for mixing, so you could get some very different results and get confused thinking you can't paint when actually you're just using the wrong paint. But acrylic paint, that's what we're using today. I'm using Liquitex because that's available everywhere in a student grade and in a professional grade. We have titanium white. We have phthalo blue, also known as polyethylene blue. Phthalo blue. We have cad red hue. The cadmium red, if you can afford it, is very good too. You just don't eat it. Dioxazine purple, Mars black, and cadmium yellow hue. But again, cadmium yellow, if you can afford it, is a great way to go. As long as you don't eat it, don't eat any of the cad paints. In fact, in general, don't eat paint, please. Then the other thing that you're definitely going to want to have is zinc white or Liquitex mixing white. Now this is the weird thing I want you to get. If you are intending to do clouds or atmosphere at all, I really want you guys to pick up a tube of Liquitex mixing white or golden zinc white, because it's going to make a big difference in the result that you get. If you really can't get it, you could use gel medium into your white and thin it out. Alright, you're going to need some colored chalks just to make horizon lines and draw some things in, and an assortment of brushes. Now, angle brushes, 1/2 inch size or so. Some brights, any brights, which is a square brush about 1/4 inch. Some teeny tiny pointed details, okay? Teeny tiny pointed details. And then an assortment of at least one. Get about a 1 inch filbert and a 1 inch bright. These are brushes that you're going to just want to have in your studio all the time. You're going to want brushes for acrylic painting with a medium flick back, which means that they're not super soft and squishy like watercolor brushes. Okay? I even also have a 1/2 inch bright that I expect I will be using quite a lot. 16 by 20 pre-gessoed canvas. Look, you can pick these up at your local art supply store in packages of 5 or 2. You can pick them up at Michael's. Michael's runs a bunch of sales. They're pre-gessoed. You don't have to re-gesso them. You can. We've talked about that in previous videos. But we're going to always start our paintings now with an acrylic colored ground, which means I'm going to get one of my bigger brushes. I'm going to get my filbert, and I'm going to dip my brush in my water cup, a supply you should have. I also like to have a little paper towel around and a cup of some delicious beverage that you like, some yummy snacks. That's good to have. But I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get a little of my just phthalo blue, just straight phthalo blue, okay? I might add a little dioxazine purple to it, and I'm going to do what's an acrylic colored ground. What is that, you say, if you're brand new? An acrylic colored ground is an acrylic paint, right, thinned out to no more than 30%, because if you thin it too much, it won't attach to the canvas, that you paint your whole canvas with first. You paint your whole canvas with this first, okay? And you say to yourself, but hey, when I was at that sip and paint place, we didn't paint the whole canvas first. Well, here's the deal, guys. They have to get you in and out in 2 or 3 hours real fast so that, you know, they can keep their business going. And so they don't always have time for you to do things like an acrylic colored ground. But here in our own personal painting spaces, we do have the time to put an acrylic color ground. And here's what's wonderful about this. This makes up for a whole bunch of experienced and new painter mistakes. When you put this on first, not only do you have a nice thin coat of paint for your painting to attach to, but you will not have, see here, right here, there's white canvas showing through. And when you're painting just straight, right, you're always going to be dealing with that white canvas showing through, because new painters, beginning painters, have the most trouble not with duplicating the brush strokes or drawing the objects, but with getting enough paint and water mixture on the brush. That's your big first thing as a new painter, is you'll struggle with, how do I get this paint on the canvas in a nice coating and get nice coverage in an acrylic colored ground. An acrylic colored ground will help you do this. Now, I'm so excited you decided to paint this fabulous scene with me today. I have a strong feeling about this because I feel like we need more paintings in our house. I want you at the end of this to go right and hang this right up. I want you to hang this right up in your living space. Because the things that you look at on your walls, they're just like windows. They're just like your view. Okay? They're just like your view. And what you're looking at matters. It impacts how you feel. And we can't, not all of us can afford lakefront living. Now, if you can't afford lakefront living, there is nothing wrong with that. But obviously, there's a limited amount of it. It's very expensive. And we don't all have the income to have a fabulous lake view. I have a friend who has a fabulous lake view. It's fabulous. It is fabulous. And it definitely does all the things that you might think a lake view would do. It makes her feel better about life. And she wakes up a little tense. She can have a nice cup of coffee and look at her beautiful lake and her lovely herons and be inspired. But, you know, that's just not possible for everybody. But you do want to have the feeling of a beautiful view. You do want to have the feeling of a gorgeous lake vista at sunset where deer might gather under your 150-year-old oak. Imagine how nice that is. When you put images like this up in your house, wherever your house is, it makes your home space feel better. These pictures, these colors, they improve how your life feels. I'm going to have a sip of my fabulous, delicious beverage, which is, because for me it's early, so it's coffee. If it's later for you, you go have fun however you need to. Now this acrylic color ground is just slightly thin paint. It's not watercolor thin, it's just thinner acrylic paint. I'm going to dry it with my hair dryer. Let's talk real quick about the appropriate way to dry with a hair dryer. It is not the heat of the hair dryer that dries your paint. It is the air motion over your paint. I want you to be about 6 inches back and move your dryer around like this. Okay, and that's how you. All right, that's dry. Take a deep breath and enjoy the fact that you're taking a minute to relax and that you're giving a little bit of time to yourself and that you're painting Serene Escape with me. Oh, you're going to love this on your wall. It's going to feel good, isn't it? You need to have stuff to look at that feels good. You need to have beautiful fields of like peaceful blue. This is what this is, a peaceful blue. Even right now, this on your wall would feel better. I know what I'm talking about. My husband and I, we lived all kinds of places. We've been all kinds of locations. But you know, in a life, in a person's life, you have ups and downs. You have ups and downs to your health. You have ups and downs through job situations that are no control of your own. And sometimes you're living in a place you really like the location, and sometimes you're not. And we certainly have ended up in a place we didn't love the location, and it was really challenging to live there. And all the walls were white. It was super depressing. And one of the things that got us through was I started throwing paintings up on the walls, beautiful paintings. And my husband came to me, he said, thank you for doing that, that it made it much better to be where we were while we were getting back up again to see these paintings. And so what I really want you to take away from this is no matter where you are, if you're happy about it, it'll improve where you're at. But maybe you're not happy about where you're at. Do this painting, get this up on your wall, start to feel better. Start to use your art to feel better today. I'm going to use my ruler And I'm going to measure up a couple of inches. I'm going to measure up, see the halfway mark of my painting, right, which is about here. I am going to measure up 5 inches, okay, on each side. And I'm going to make a little line across. And this is my little lake line. And I'm doing it in white chalk so I can see it. But this is where I'm going to see my little water. Right? There's my little halfway points. This is where my lake is disappearing to, okay? So my sky that I'm going to work on is not going to come past my little chalk line. That's all I have it there for. That's all I need it to know for. See, here's some of my Liquitex. This is what the Liquitex would look like. And it's going to say green shade. Don't get thrown off when it says phthalo blue, and I'm saying phthalo blue, and a red shade and green shade. Red shade is really ultramarine. You want green shade phthalo. That's what you want, is green shade. So I'm going to put a little more phthalo out because I know I'm going to need a lot. I'm going to get a 1-inch brush, filbert. That's the rounded edge. I'm going to get it wet. And I'm going to start out by taking a little of my dioxazine purple. And I'm going to paint the upper. Right now, you're already glad that blue is under there. Especially if you're new to painting and you're going, I don't know how to get this canvas covered. Don't worry about it. We got you. We're going to have a good time here. You are going to get a painting that you're going to feel really good about, that you're going to love looking at, that you're going to feel proud that you did. Okay? It's going to make you feel good about yourself. And there is nothing that we need to be doing more in life. I'm going to get more blue here, just straight blue. And just feeling a little bit better about what's happening. So I've got this. Now, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm stroking across in a nice flat stroke. And I'm keeping my shoulder level. I'm working from my shoulder. And I'm going level. I'm not going down. I'm not going down. I'm keeping these lines levels. In skies and in water, we're going to be doing a bunch of them in the upcoming lessons. Level is your friend. Stay level. Stay level-headed and stay level in life. All right. So I'm going to take this little purple over here and a little blue. I'm going to add a little white to it. Okay? This is going to be my next little band. Okay, you see this here? This purple I'm blending into this. Purple I'm blending into this. Now this I got this idea from this fabulous site, Paint My Photo. I found a great photo that this wonderful woman had taken from her home. See, she's blessed enough to live at one of those lakefront properties. And I was able to create this lesson. Listen, if you want more things to paint, go to Paint My Photo and paint them. Paint some of these wonderful pictures people have shared with you. You know, definitely follow the guidelines. Definitely obey the site rules and things. But it's a tremendous resource for artists because we really shouldn't shop on Pinterest for more than inspiration. We shouldn't take people's photography on Pinterest and then just make it our own. We definitely want to use some of the resource sites that are out there for painters and do it in the right way. So I've got this and this. I'm moving very quickly. And now I'm going to get a little more paint. I'm going to rinse off my brush. Now I'm going to have John edit me bending down. Okay. I'm going to take a little red and I'm going to take it over to my purple. Okay. I'm going to add a little of this red to my purple. Add a little of this red to my purple. And I'm going to hit this next band here with this little red to my purple. Alright, you see that? And I'm blending here. Just going back and forth. I'm going to add a little white to that. And that's critical right here, beneath the first red band, and blend it up a little bit. We can do exactly what the oil painters do in that alla prima, that wet on wet that all the guys like to do. You can do that. It is either about using a medium to slow the drying of your acrylic paint or just painting quickly enough to blend wet into wet. That's all you really got to do. And then just keep getting a little more red. and coming down. So listen, orange and blue are complements of each other. So if you get them two into each other's space, what will happen? What will happen to you is that they will make kind of a grayed out color. So you want a little barrier in your painting, okay, that gets you out of that. Now I'm going to rinse out my brush. I'm going to start coming up from the bottom. Okay, I'm going to start working up from the bottom. I'm going to get some of my red, take it over to my cad yellow. Okay. I'm going to come along this little horizon line that I have created. I got a little too much water in my brush, so I'll wipe that off. That can happen to you, so you can get a little too much water, not enough water in your brush. You got to watch for those amounts of water. Okay, I'm going to add a little white to this mixture. If you're painting a student grade paint, which means if you're painting economy paint, try to get at least the white, okay, of a higher grade paint. That will help your coverage, because where you're going to see difficulty in the tube paints, in the craft paints, is how well a lighter paint covers a darker paint. And we really need to do it this way, so that's where I would, if you were going to sit there and try to, I'm mixing a little cad over here, getting more of an orange. Look at that bright orange I'm putting in here. Isn't that exciting? All right, it's so fun to do this. Sunsets are the really fun one to do. It's super fun to do a sunset. I like it. I like it a lot. Mixing those in. And we're not done. See, this is about layering. Painting, got a little more yellow there. I'm putting in a stronger yellow. Letting it go up into my purple a little bit. Okay. I'm keeping my lines level. If I lose my level, I'm going to come back and push my level right back in. Look at me go. I'm not even struggling here. And I'm going to get a little more cad. And then I'm going to come and put a little of it in here, okay? I'm going to dash it in. Now, one of the things that I, as a painter who paints a lot, knows is that besides being level, I like to not create completely uniform patterns. And this spares me the look of something that's unnatural. So I will break my patterns up where I can. I'm getting some just plain yellow here, and I'm going to come and add a little dash of that here, right there at the center, blending it out. Isn't that fun? Coming in. Making sure it stays level, that these streaks are in the sky. Now, a place I'm going to add a little streakage, I'm going to rinse my brush out really well, because I feel like I've got some nice fire happening in this lower part. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to get a little of my white, a little of my purple, and I'm going to make sure that that comes up into my sky a little bit, into that blue. I'm letting the blue show through underneath. See, I'm letting it show through underneath. I'm just adding a little bit of that in there. All right. Now it's going to give me some depth. I'm taking it sort of up to the top. And I'm allowing these streaks to happen. So this is how we acrylic artists get some of those crazy, beautiful, fiery, atmospheric things. Now this sunset, this might happen a few times in your life, but when you paint it and you put it on your wall, this sunset is an everyday bit of beauty that you can have, that you can make, that nobody can take from you, that you're in charge of. Just think about that. This is your sunset. Belongs to you. I mean, how often can you even say that? Now, I had showed you my 1/2-inch brushes. And I'm going to talk about the types of brushes we can use for the next part. This little brush here, if you can see this, it's a hot mess. I have abused it. It has fluffed out. I've broken the heel. Another brush that you can get is a good stippling brush. I'm going to show you one here. This is an old kind of battered brush. It's a round, but it's all sort of very soft at this tip. So it's not neat. It's not tidy. Sometimes you can buy brushes that are like this. Sometimes you can develop brushes that are like this for the purpose of painting. And what I'm going to say is I like the 1/2" angles because what they give me, and I like my little damaged brush. But hey, you know those like makeup brushes that are cut flat that you blend in, or the kabukis? You can find brushes like that in the acrylic section in the same size range that you can buy all ready to go. So if you don't have one, if you haven't just like abused your studio into oblivion like I have, now I'm putting out some of this zinc white. And you're like, wait, how is this white different? Why is there zinc white, mixing white, titanium white, bone white? Here's the down low on the white, since we really need to know it right now. Zinc white is transparent. It's white, but it's very transparent. It tints. Whereas titanium white, it is a force of nature. It lightens, okay? So and mixing white is similar to the zinc white. I just really like golden zinc white in this case, and if I'm going to buy the tube, I'm going to buy it. It's like $1 between them, and you know. So that's what I'm going to use, but either is really effective for what you're doing, okay? But what you want is a translucent white. And then you say to me, but what if I can't do that? Well, that gloss gel and medium, that gloss, medium, and varnish that I had you get from the varnish video, you could add a little of that to titanium white and make it more translucent and also get this effect. My 2 cents is just get the zinc mixing, but you know, okay. I'm going to get my brush wet, and then I'm going to dab it off on my paper towel, and I'm going to grab some of my zinc white. I'm going to load it up. Okay, I'm going to load it up, and then I'm going to come up here. So if this little space is like somewhere in here is like the halfway mark, I'm going to come up about 2/3 of the way up, and I'm going to start making my little cloud shapes. Now, here's where I'm a crazy different person than you are. I know clouds are not round, okay? They're not round. They're not like this, okay? They are a hot mess. And what I like to think of when I'm doing clouds, in this little atmospheric cloud, is Jackie Chan. And I imagine that this is like a little drunken monkey little cloud, okay? Every once in a while, I'm going to wipe my brush off and pick up some more zinc paint. Okay, this is a drunken monkey little cloud. And this is my Jackie Chan. Go like I say it with me. Jackie Chan. Okay, and this is going to wander through. I'm going to take this sort of up and down. I don't make patterns. I don't clone patterns. I don't do saw teeth. I'm just like, whoa, drunken monkey coming through the sky here. Okay, up and down. This is a fun skill for you to learn. And this is a simple cloud to learn it on. You're not going to make a circle right here. You're making a little bank. Now I'm going to come over on this side. I'm going to start the bank over here. Okay. So I'm going to have these 2 banks sort of meet up in the sky. And as you'll see as you're working some of it, it will naturally create your cloud shading. It will naturally do that for you. So nice, because it'll pick up the paint underneath. And it'll want to do that. And then you can kind of see that there's this sort of cloud bank that's happening. Just work it. You just don't want it to be one thing. I'm gonna pick up a little more zinc white, and I know I want a little bit down here. So I'm gonna there's some blue in there, and so it creates some like dark shadow to my cloud because there's blue, purple, and orange make gray, and so then I'm getting some shading to my cloud bank. I didn't even know I was gonna get. Right? Some over here, even though I'm going to have a little tree, I'm going to make a little cloud bank over here. Make a little cloud bank over here. Make the cloud banks where you'd like your cloud banks. This is your cloud banks. I don't care whatever else is happening in your life. These are your cloud banks. You can just put them where you like. I'm putting mine here. You're welcome to follow along with me and put your cloud banks there. But, you know, just put them where you feel like it would be nice to have them. Right? They're just misty out there. This is a beautiful, beautiful day that you've had by the lake. Look at those lovely, happy, floating clouds. Oh, we've invoked the Bob. Everybody said Bob love. wherever he is, spreading art and love everywhere he's going, saying everyone can do it, and he's right, and you know what, it's true. Bill Alexander was right, and Bob was right, and all the artists out there that are telling you can paint, they're right. It's a set of skills, and you'll learn them. 10 paintings in, you'll be like, oh my goodness. Now, this piece, I'm sending light and love to all you guys, all my artists out there, and new artists that have come into the channel that are in the snow right now. I know some of you are in the snow. You're stuck out there. It's rough, man. It's really rough what you're going through, and I know that. I know that for a fact. And if it's a metaphorical snow in your life where you're just going through a hard time, or it's actual physical 5 feet of snow around you and you're just cold and you just want a different view, I got you. I got you. This painting is for you. All right. So we're going to hit this with a hairdryer real quick, because in art, one of the things that trips up new artists is the paint dry. So sometimes you need it to be wet to work it, and sometimes you need it to be dry to work it. And for this next stage, we want it to be dry. So let's dry it up. But we remember how to dry our painting, right? All right, so we have that there, and we're ready to put in the mountain line. Now, I'm gonna switch out my cup of water to a clean cup. I try to keep some extra clean cups here. And I'm again going to use my angle brush because I like the sharp, clean line that it gives me. I'm gonna get my brush wet, and I'm gonna get some straight purple. Okay. I don't want any white in it. I want it to be as dark. I might even get some blue here and add some blue to that purple. I want this to be very dark. I'll smush it off. I load it up. Okay, and I'm going to come across here, and as level as I can, I'm going to make a level line of purple. Level as I can. I mean, we're human beings, so don't. The whole point of painting is to lower your blood pressure, not go bananas over the perfection of it all and then raise it up. So be sure you're keeping yourself chill, keeping yourself okay. I got a thing, you know, sometimes you guys write me and you talk about like being really trapped in unhappiness. Like really trapped in unhappiness. And I want to ask you something. I want to ask you something very serious. If you are sitting at home right now just really trapped in unhappiness, maybe an unhappy relationship or an unhappy circumstance, or just a place you're just like, man, this is just not working for me, but I feel just I can't get out. I want to ask you something. Are you immortal? Are you an immortal teenage vampire? Because if you are, then you can absolutely waste 100, 200 years on being unhappy because you have all the time in the universe as long as nobody stakes you. But if you are like the rest of us, straight up, you do not have the time to be wasting on unhappiness. You just don't have it. I wish you did. I wish they had nanotech. I wish the singularity was here and we could all just be like miserable for a while. But if you are in a place where you've got a person, a job, a circumstance making yourself miserable, I need you to paint with me and I need you to get clear in your head and listen to yourself, because you'll figure out your path out, but you need to start looking for it. You need to start figuring out what your correct path out is, because you are not living long enough to be miserable, I promise you. Unless you are a teenage vampire that's painting with me, then aren't you very lucky that you have all the time to be distressed over all those difficult things. Even if you're a teenager and you think you have all the time in the world, you don't have time enough to be that unhappy. We're going to make our mountain lines. Trick to the mountains. Mountains are not little zigzag tooth combs. Mountains are not clone shapes. Much like our cloud maneuver here, okay? What you want to do, and I'm painting short bristles first, long bristles last. I'm painting this little up and down little shape, but I want to make sure that I don't clone what I've got going on over here, okay? Not cloning. I want nature and the randomness and the chaos of Mother Earth to have helped form these mountains. And so what I do not need is a repeat. The magic of this, whether you're doing the Bob Ross paintings, the Alla Prima with anybody online, is just making sure that you just don't repeat these shapes. We're going to talk about this a lot when we paint together, about randomizing the shapes. So I have a beautiful random mountain line here. And I'm going to come, I might rinse out a little bit. And I'm going to take some of this dark color and some of this blue, okay? I'm going to add a little purple into it. I'm going to really load up well, but I need it to be a little more blue, because I want it to be different than my mountain lines. And on a very level space, a very level plane, on the flat, right? Because we have two brush strokes we made with this one and this one. I'm doing that second one. You're like, you just randomly made brush strokes. Yes, I can totally randomly make brush strokes. It doesn't even worry me. On the flat, as level as I can, I'm going to come here and put in this first little strip of paint, okay? This first little strip of my water. Butt it right up to the mountain line. Okay. Keep it as level as you can. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to get a little of my titanium white, not my zinc white. And I'm going to get some of my color. Okay, and it's just going to be a little different than what's behind it. All right, still very dark. It's just tinted with a little bit of white. Okay. And I am just painting that in. All right, painting that in. Very dark, but a little bit of white. It'll be a different shade or value than the mountains behind it, but just a touch. Like if we were to say that this was our, you know, our 9, because the black will be our 10, and this is like an 8 or a 7 on a grayscale is how we might talk about that, okay? And as I move forward, I'm just going to pull up just more pure blue. I might even switch out of that angle brush and grab one of my filberts. Wipe it off my paper towel. I just want to put on a smoother run of paint. Sometimes these will load too much water for you and it can be aggravating, and so you've got to really just work them. And I just want a little bit of this here. A little too light, but so my trick is right here. I'm keeping everything level. I got too much white. That happens to you, wipe it off. Dry it, start over. Too much white, dry it and start over. So what it'll be is my back of this will be the darkest, and my lake will get lighter coming forward. Okay? And I'm going to just make sure that this is as level. I'm doing this really weird trick where I go blend, white, blend, white. See, well, painter's not the only one that can do this stuff. We are awesome too. So I've got that, and I am inclined to, while it is still wet, while it is still very, very wet, I'll put out a little more blue of my Phthalo with a Cane Blue green shade. Okay. And I'm going to come into my little white here with more white, blue, make a lighter shade, okay? And then I'm going to, and this is, all right, here's where this is at. And I want you to have fun with this. Don't get all mental about this because this is just fun in the process of the way. This is about being level, level-headed, level-bodied, level-shouldered, level. But you're going to randomly, almost in a zigzag, while remaining level. I know, it seems crazy, yet it's what we're going to do all the way down to the front of the canvas. Brush strokes at the back will be the smallest. Brush strokes at the front will be the biggest. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to just add some highlights to my water. Okay. In the back here, I want some highlights to this water. And one of the nice things about the paint still being wet is it will, just like the oil painters, it will blend into the paint in front of it. And now as I get forward, my brush strokes will get bigger. I'll push a little harder into my brush stroke. Those are things that you can work on as a new artist. How hard am I pushing? Because the harder you push, the wider the brush stroke will get. Okay? I'm putting a lot more light color down here at the front because this is where I want that. Right? And I'm painting on the edge of the brush, not the wide, the edge. If you just mess up and you hate it, just dry it with your hairdryer, paint it back in with the dark, go back and do it again. This is acrylic paint, and there's always a do-over. And I like to say life is like that too. People just don't know it. Just live your life like you did it in acrylic paint. Let it dry. Let time go by. Do over. You are not stuck living with something that doesn't work. All right. So I have that in. Can you see how the levelness of it and the size of the brush strokes, the teeny tiny brush strokes push it back further, and the bigger brush strokes put it out farther. Now I'm going to like to grab for this, okay, I like to grab a little of the purple, and I like to put a little of the purple in my water because it's up in my sky, and water is a mirror to the sky. So in a couple places I'm going to put this towards the back in the darker color. I'm going to add some of this purple. Little bits, dashes. I'm going to have fun with it. Try to have fun with sunsets. The nice thing about them is that they're gemmy, they're fun to do, and anyone can really do them once they understand the principles that make it happen. All right, put some over here. See, I've just sort of dusted it places. Yeah. I'm going to rinse this out. I'm going to get even more white this time. Okay. Just going to come in and create kind of like a stronger reflection in my water coming up towards the center. This is the money right here, this water reflection. Now, to the degree that you want to work out your reflective surface is the amount of pull and emotional intensity your painting might have. Mark Criley, who's a fantastic teacher here on YouTube, talks about, you want to put in an hour, do you want to put in 2 hours, do you want to put in 3 hours? You know, you put in your time, you get your result. And that's just what time you can spare. You're going to get the benefit just by painting. Okay, so I've kind of brightened that up down the center. And again, this painting is about being dry. So let's get our hairdryer, edit. Ooh, isn't that pretty? So now we get to put in the silhouette magic, and that's why I really wanted this to be dry, because some of how we get this in is actually aided by the paint being dry. Take this in for a minute. Already, this reminds me, I lived in Vegas for a little while. Not the unhappy place I was referring to earlier. I actually love living in Vegas. And this reminds me a little bit of the lake there, with a fiery sunset, blazing sunset. You know, didn't live on the lake though. Rented a houseboat, got to stay out there. Waterfront. It's just good for my soul. I do not currently live on waterfront property. I wish I could. I wish I did. It seems like it would be awesome. All right, so now we're going to put the silhouette in. And the first thing that we're going to do, you know me, I like my 1/2 inch angle brush. So I'm going to grab that. I like these because they give me a lot of brush strokes in one brush. You know how like on QVC they're always like, a multi-tool, this thing does everything? This brush does everything. So I like it. I'm going to move my coffee because we know how I love to put my brushes in my coffee. You know I do. I'm going to get some black paint. I'm going to get some black paint. I'm going to load it up. Now, another place that you may want to upgrade your paint is in the black, because if it doesn't have a lot of pigment, you may find you have to do 2 coats, 3 coats to get the effect you want. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up about, a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to just paint a black strip across. Now listen, once you have this technique down, you could go to Paint My Photo and search sunset silhouettes, and you would find a lot of silhouettes at sunset that you've already learned some of the skills to do and just paint them. And you could just have amazing silhouettes from all over the world, all over your house, on your walls. How would that feel? How would it feel to have all of your wall space, right, just covered with beautiful pictures? I know, because mine is, and I love it. People are always like, I love coming to your house. It's so, feels so at home here. It's because of the paintings. This is never a regular house. All right, so we've got our nice little spot of land that our deer are going to stand on. Now, I did a little thing. Like, I didn't make a straight, like, I let my line kind of do the drunken monkey up here, too. It wanders. Because even this embankment, I know, right? Even this is going to have a little bit of a meanderiness. Now I'm going to make it a little higher over here where my tree's going to be. Now I've got this 150-year-old oak that I want to put in. And if you've been painting with me for a while, you know my rule about trees. But if you're new, here's what the deal is. Trees are bigger at the bottom and smaller at the top. Now you can always add more black to make the tree bigger, but it's tough to take it away. You can do it, you can dry it, you can paint it out. You can see it in my Call to Glory time lapse where I painted some stuff out I didn't like and then just put it back in. It's totally doable. Or you can just add more slowly. And if you're really new to painting, what I want to say is add more slowly, breathe, don't panic. All that's happening to you is there's a perfect tree in your head and your heart and your soul that your body is wanting to get out. You may not have the skills yet to express. 10 paintings in, 20 paintings in, you can make that tree. So be sure to be forgiving of yourself. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over about 2.5, 3 inches. I'm going to make a little line, and it's going to wander up my canvas like this, because my tree is it's an old gnarly tree. I'm going to take it all the way off. And I'm going to paint that all in solid black. That's all I got to do there. Okay? That's all I got to do there. That's how easy that is. That's how easy that is. And you think, that doesn't look like your picture that you showed me. But this will be that, because the only way I make my intro is with the ending painting. So what you saw in the beginning is what I'm doing right now, and this is the path of getting there. So you just got to relax and let go and just enjoy the process, man. Art is a process. It is not a destination. It's absolutely a journey. Tree trunk, it's in. Now, I'm painting, I'm going to show it here on the cam, shortest bristles to the longest bristles, which gives me this nice little fine little wandering line that you just saw on the palette cam. I'm always going to start my shortest bristles in about oh, 3-4 inches from the top, I'm going to make a little branch that comes off and goes off over here. Okay, just that line. All right. And then below it, about a couple inches, I'm going to make another branch that comes over. And you're like, what? Those don't, yeah, just, and I'm not painting them all the way in yet because I want a certain feeling about this whole thing. And then starting from below my mountain line, I'm going to do this great big branch. It's going to come off all the way over there. All right, so now I know where my 3 big support branches are. All right, and here's where you can variance. You can use this square. You can use what we like to call a detail round. See how it comes to a point? Okay, and what I want you to do is use the brush that's comfortable for you, that you feel like you have control over the line with, okay? That's what you need to do. Now I'm going to thickest it that where the branch connects to the tree, because it's thickest down here, and then this will be the thickest where it connects. And then as it grows out, it's going to get thinner. And I'm taking that right off. I've thickened that up. I'm going to make this branch a little more substantial, coming off the trunk. Right? It's wandering up here. And how I get my brush stroke finer, round brush, square brush, angle brush, is pressure. I lighten up my pressure. Hear the Queen song in your head if you need to. Now I'm going to vary a little branch that comes off of this right here, because I feel like this would have that. And I'll have a little branch that comes off right there. Now I'm going to come back in and do some work with a finer detail brush once I have my big branches in. Okay. Even on this yellow, though, you're going to see that my black is just not wanting to cover it, and that is about getting the best black you can. And I have a really good black here, and I'm still having stuff. So if you're painting a student black, just go, okay, I know I need to do 2 coats. I'm not even stressed about it. I get it. I need to do 2 coats. That's what I got going on here. I'm just wandering my little brush over. I want it to be a little bumpier and a little cricketier, so I'm working that, and I've got that in. Okay, now, hair dryer. Why? You'll see. That's looking pretty good. While I'm here, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna be using this with the black layer. I'm gonna get my little square detail. I'm gonna get a little of my orange that's in my sky, because I feel like I want a little of it in my lake. Okay, I'm gonna come and add a little path of light. See how I'm still keeping those brush strokes level into my lake, coming forward. Okay, and I might go get a little more red on this one. Add just a little tone variance here, a couple places. It can just be nice to just say, there's a little of this, what's happening up in the sky reflected in my water. It's just a design choice. You might have just liked it clear, serenely blue, and be like, I don't want that. And that is perfectly okay. Now we talked about having a detail brush. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get it wet. I'm going to break all the little sizing out of it. Then I'm going to load it up with my black paint like you do. And because I've dried this, I can do something now called a bridge, which means I can rest my hand on my canvas to steady my hand. You can buy a bridge that goes over your easel contraption to rest your hand. But I don't have one of those, so I just do it this way. And I'm going to start putting in some twiggly little branches. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to make a wander little twiggly little branch, twiggly little branch, twiggly little branch. Okay, I'm going to bring one off of here. And I will probably visit this a couple of times on the canvas, because when I have the deer, I may want some twiggly little branches over them or around them, and I don't want it to interfere with, you know, what they've got going on. I just want this. How do I get them to get so fine? Everyone says that I have so much trouble getting the fine lines. When you rest your hand and you press hard, the line is wide, and then as you lighten it, the line goes fine. That is all it is. We talk a lot in the other videos about wet cat pressure. That's how you do it. You just touch it gently. It's like it's gentle. The more gently you touch it, the finer the line is. That's what you've got going on there. Right? And I'm just wandering these little branches around. Have fun with it. The biggest thing that new painters struggle with is making their branches long enough. They panic in the middle of the branch and then they stop. Go long. Go long. Go long. Okay? So I'm just working on these upper ones, you know, while I'm at it. Trying to get a little feeling going. I feel like this might be broken down and it'd be over here this way. Just trying to fill up my space with these little broken branches. Another little thing I can do that's a lot of fun here is I can do little dashes. As if they're old little leaves about to fall off some of these little branches that are hanging out on my little. It's a really nice touch. It's just a really nice touch. Now I'm going to work the upper side of this tree branch, but I'm not going to get into the lower because I want to get my deer in and my grass in, and then I'm going to start pulling these branches down. So a lot of times for the magic trick of art, if I'm doing a performance art piece, I might have the deer be the last thing that I add in, but for the purposes of you and I doing this together, we're going to do this in an order that makes sure you have a little more control over the design result. You're nearly done with this painting. Are you just like blown away? You may not feel nearly done, but you are. So I'm wandering up here with my little brush, making little branches, enjoying that process. Right, making little dashes for the leaves. Fun with it. You could be a very young person and do this painting, believe it or not. You can be at any point in your art journey and do this painting. This is great for very experienced artists because they enjoy the exercise of the design of the tree and the branches and the way everything wanders. Ooh, almost got my coffee. And this is great for a very new painter who's like just trying to build up some art skills so they can start having some fun in their art practice in their life. Now my big thing is when this is over, and I'm going to say it again, I want you to go to the end card. I have these end cards at the end of every video. I encourage you like what you might watch next. What I'd like you to do is go to the how to varnish my painting. Go to how to varnish your painting. And I want you to get this thing done and up on the wall. That's what I want for you. I want this. Put a nail on your wall and start putting these up. Start changing your living space. Start valuing that beautiful experience inside your home. You're in a city, right? Maybe there's not a lake by you. Maybe you're not somewhere that you're happy to be. Paint where you would be happy to be. I talked about that in my last vlog, about painting where you want to be, where your heart is. Put your art where your heart is. Get control over what's happening to you. That's how you get control over what's happening to you. Because people can do things and make decisions and be crummy in a way that you can't fix. You cannot fix other people. You can fix yourself. A lot of you guys write me and talk about, well, I'm going to do this creative thing and maybe my mother, my spouse, my partner, my friend will see that I'm valuable. You have to be the one that sees that you're valuable. You are valuable. You see that first. Let other people catch up. The other people can catch up when they're ready to catch up. That is their problem if they don't already get that you're wonderful and valuable. You're getting treated badly. Come on, don't do that. Don't put up with somebody treating you badly. You're not lacking value to the point where you deserve to be treated badly by friends or family or partners. And I'm definitely not just picking on guys here, because I've seen guys with women in their lives or partners in their lives that were not respectful, were not uplifting, were not courteous, that they didn't value. You know, love is trust. That is what it is. That is the secret. You can go your whole life and talk to anyone who's been married 20 years like that and they'll be like, trust. And you can't trust someone that doesn't treat you right, whether it's verbally or physically. You know, I'll tell you what, I've seen this again and again with paintings. There's no way you're going to do 10 of these and then be okay with something that's ugly in your life. When you embrace beauty and you say, I am a creator and a maker of beauty, you'll stop putting up with ugly in your life in about a nanosecond. Seen it again and again and again and again. People with just 20 years of misery, and then they start painting and they go, you know what? I'm awesome. This is not okay. And I want you guys to, if you need to do that, I want you to have that ability to do that. All right, I'm going to put this beautiful little branch here because you deserve beauty. You deserve beauty in your relationships, and you deserve beauty in your living space. And it is not just the top 2% that deserve a view. And I'm not angry at the top 2%. If you're living in a mansion, awesome. It's just not everybody can. That's all. That's all it is. Not everybody can, but everybody deserves the view. Everybody deserves the love. Everybody deserves the respect. Fact, straight up. Don't put up with nonsense. That's not okay. I hear from you guys putting up with some really, really messed up stuff. And it breaks my heart for you. Because I know you deserve more. Know it for a fact. For a fact. You deserve better. Makes me crazy, you don't know. But I know that if you keep painting, you'll know. I know if you keep painting and you keep making beauty, you'll start making your life beautiful. Just the body follows the head. That's what happens. All right, so down here, I'm feeling like I would like some deer. And the deer might seem a little daunting. We're going to start with our deer over here on the right. And I'm going to say about 3 fingers up, I'm going to make a circle. Okay? I'm going to make a little circle. A little oval. I'm going to build my deer on this oval. Alright? I know that seems crazy, but that's what we're going to do. I'm going to build my deer on this oval. It's okay to trace, by the way. If you've got a picture of some deer that you like and you just want to trace their outline onto your canvas and then paint them, that's perfectly acceptable. Lots of artists do that. Don't give yourself any grief over that. It is not how you make the painting. It is how the painting makes you. And then I'm going to come up about 1 inch. I'm going to make a little line for the neck. Okay, and now I know some things. I know the head's up here, and the chest is here, and the legs come down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle at the top for where the head is. It's also more of an oval. Okay, and I'm going to blend that down into the neck down to the chest. All right. Don't be stressing on it. Don't think about deer if you don't draw all the time either, because that'll mess you up. Because then your left brain will be like, I think this is what a deer is like. And then you're going to be like, that doesn't look like a deer at all. I'm going to paint some withers here and some haunches so it'll go up. It goes out a little bit for the chest because they have little pointy little chests. You do my time lapse, you know, I've painted deer. Okay, and then I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna make an ear. So line up, curves down into the head. Pretty much not hard, almost like a leaf shape. Okay, I'm gonna come up here. If I have to, I'll make a nice line out. Okay, this one's almost more like a diamond. Okay, so then this, I'm gonna come to this space. I'm gonna make this little triangle right here. That's the muscle of the back leg. Do not need to be this specific, okay? Believe it or not, with silhouettes, you get a lot of forgiveness visually because everybody's brain finishes the picture. And then I'm going to do a forward-facing little leg coming down. Little diamond here. This one will come forward. And remember, you can put grass in here. So put a whole bunch of grass. And have these little legs come down here. And I'm going to let the little blue, see, I've left a little bit of blue there. Okay. And then a little tail. This little tail is going to come down like that little deer tail. And there is a silhouette of a deer right there. Now I need one, he's going to be in the middle. And his shape, I'm going to start with more of same height, same height, more of a circle that I've got going here. I'm going to just paint in a little circle. I'm going to start the body with the circle. So he's got kind of a more bunched up shape. All right. I'm going to bring a little curve neck. It's going to curve up like this. I'm going to paint it like almost like an egg shape right here. Small little egg shape. Here's my finger to get the sense of the size. Then I'm going to start painting in the neck. Give myself some withers. That's that little bump. Because I got the little circle, I'll use that. Paint his little legs down here. And come off here and do a nice little hind quarter. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes you'll hear my kids in the background. I don't know if you can. We try to set up the sound system so it's not so bad. But you might. See, we're just putting this little guy in. Right? And then a little tail flick back here. And a little upward ear. Ear shadow here. I'm going to just do the little deer nose thing. Give it more of a deer shaped face. There we go. So we got a little deer shaped face happening. A little ear shadow thing happening. So that is the shape of that deer in shadow. Paint extra little coats of black if you need to. Try not to get too mental about it. It's not that important. We're going to have grass coming up here. I think I'm going to put another little deer right here. Make my little oval. The oval is just, for me, it's just like, oh, I'm starting here. I think in art sometimes we just get paralyzed, like in life, about just making a decision about what to do. And honestly, completion is way more important than perfection, especially in the journey of art. Getting it done. You can always just, when you're real confident in your skills, you can worry about perfecting those skills. But sometimes you just got to just batten down the hatches and get them first. And I'm going to make a little curve line here. The neck. Fill that in. On this one, you don't really see the head. The head is looking out over the lake. So really all you're painting is the top of the skull and the ears. And of course I like to give those withers. Hindquarters. Haunches. Just tiny little, deers have tiny, tiny little legs. So, you know, just, you can just end them in almost like a twiggly little branch. Those little twiggly branch skills are exactly what you need. There's another little leg coming down. There's another little leg coming down. Little deer. Little tail up too. These two have two up tails. And some ears. And you just did the ears, so you kind of know how those work. Nice big little deer ears. Deers need to hear what's coming because they're tasty and they know it. Everything eats them, including us. So look at that deer. Some circles, little shapes molded together. Don't get wound up about it. You know, I always try to do like step-by-steps and how-tos on the Heart Party webpage. You go to the Heart Party webpage, there'll be even more materials on Pinterest. There's even more materials. Come on Facebook and share your paintings with me on Facebook. Click like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you want to see more of. Tell me your art stories. I love that you guys share with me. I do. I'm still at a stage right now, today, whatever this date is, where I'm still reading and kind of keeping up. If I ever miss anything, it's not that you weren't awesome. It's just that we're now starting to get enough subscribers and traction where it can be hard and it is possible to miss, but I'm hanging in there. So now I'm going to come up and I'm going to do some grass. While you're thinking about like, oh, I'll write her that. And grass is just this little... I'm going to break up this line that we made with these little twiggly bits. Just little lines of grass. And this is about trying to blend this stuff in and erase things. Another thing I like to do sometimes at the top of grass, I do little dots. And find that there's just a little something here. Little leaves. I break up, you know, I just try to break up the direction. That's what you want to do. Because your brain wants to make patterns, so when you're painting, you actually got to break the pattern. That's the whole thing with clouds and mountains and all that, is break those patterns. Break up the line. Just have fun, you know? Just have fun. And you could go by my Etsy store. You want to see more paintings? I have a lot of the stuff up on the Etsy store. The original one that I did when I was trying to decide if this was going to be a thing, that's up on the Etsy store. Some of the different pieces are up. Some weird ideas, time lapses. It's all there. You know? Twitter. I'm not a brilliant tweeter, but I'm on there. I'm not like great at tweeting. I'm gonna do a little bush right here. This is just about knowing that these shadows, these little random lines I'm making, it feels like a bush. It's not. I have been painting long enough and living long enough to just relax. It'll work itself out. It's so important, the story that you're telling, for sure. I'm trying to tell stories that are about a happier life, about being happy, right? And inclusion, and us being where our dreams are. I like telling those stories with my paintings. I hope you like telling those stories. But you tell any story you want with your painting. It's your painting. This is your world. Tell any else. You put Kraken right there. If you feel like it. I don't want a lake with the Kraken. I feel like that has ruined the property value by my lake. Just painting little random things. That's what I'm doing. I got this grass, and then I'm going to just finish off this overhead tree branch. When I feel like my grass is where I want it to be and everything is how I like it, then I'm going to get my overhead tree branch in. You just play as long as you like. And one of the little branches I like to have is this little downward branch over the deer. How easy this is. Well, some leaves. A little downward branch. And maybe there's some more little twigglies here. Just look for holes. Fill the holes in your life and in your painting. Ooh, that's some Jason Silva deepness there. Some shot of awe. Philosophical intensity. Now, just it's your life. Be the architect of it. Be the architect of your painting. Be the architect of your life. You have to live with the consequences of your choices. So make ones that make you happy and a better person and make the world a better space. I mean, it's more than money too. Way more than money. Money is awesome. Nothing wrong with money. I think it is the love of money beyond all things is where people tend to go a little bananas. Like I definitely want a lake house, but I wouldn't like hurt anybody to get it. I'll just paint one, and then I've got one. Nobody got hurt. I sleep at night really well. Sleep at night really well. I can sleep at night. Sleep at night. No, thank you guys for putting up with me. I know I got a lot going on here. I'm behind on some stuff. Trying to work out technical difficulties with other stuff. And I'm just trying to make sure you guys have something to do while I'm working out my nonsense that makes you happy. Oh my gosh, we are starting to look pretty darn good. I feel like there's a hole here. Look for holes. Look for holes. In your life, in your painting, look for holes. Fill the holes. With good things. Not just stuff. Don't just go buy stuff. Stuff is awesome, but make stuff. So many channels to make stuff. We made some stuff. Look at what we just made. You have made a serene escape. Look at this. It can go on your wall. Look at that. That is amazing. You are amazing. Do you know you're amazing? You're amazing. You can write me and I have absolutely no trouble telling you that you're amazing. You guys are always so surprised I think you're amazing. Of course you're amazing. You're so brave. You're doing a painting. That's brave. Taking a white canvas and putting a painting on it, taking a white wall and putting a painting on it, dreaming better, bigger, more beautiful. I mean, yeah, maybe no lake house in your future, but you can still have the view. These are your windows. Give yourself some good views. It's not just for some, that's for everybody, no matter where you are. You can have the view you want. You're in winter right now, you can have this gorgeous view. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Show me your painting on Facebook. We have the forum on the webpage, which we, got all fixed and everything. Check out the Etsy. Check out everything we've got going on. Apps are coming. Going to VidCon 2015. So who knows how dated this video will eventually be. I love you. Seriously, I do. I love you guys. You are amazing. You blow my mind and my husband's mind every day with the stuff that you've got going on and the beauty of your hearts and the beauty of your creative space. Hang this on your wall. Varnish it. Watch the end card after all the credits and everything. Watch the end card. Learn how to varnish it. Stick a nail on your wall. Put it up. Show me a picture of your paintings up. Put your paintings up. Live open-hearted all week. Be open-hearted. Watch for time lapses and vlogs and my mom's challenges. And I'm going to see you guys really soon with another amazing painting tutorial.